You've reached the busy signal. I'm Jim, your host, and this podcast is all about revisiting the pop culture we grew up with. From the TV shows and movies we love, to music, commercials, and the moments that never really left us. The Busy Signal, episode 60. Thanks for listening. I don't know about all of you, but I'm still accidentally writing 2025 on all of my documents. We're barely into 2026, so I'm still kind of in New Year's mode. But just before New Year's Eve, a thought hit me, as I'm sure it may have also occurred to many of you. We are now closer to 2050 than we are to the year 2000. And that just seems like crazy to me. Like really crazy. But not as crazy as when we were just mere months away from the new millennium. 1999 was wild. Society had a potentially cataclysmic end of the world as we know it problem. And the thing is, we knew about it as early as 1985. The 2-digit year system that all computers were using was going to reset to 00 in the year 2000. But what year would the computer systems be on after 11:59 and 59 seconds? 2000 or 1900? And that was the concern. Major banking errors would occur. People would lose lots of money. The economy would collapse. Planes would possibly fall from the sky. Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. But okay, for real. This was a software coding issue. Discovered in 1985. Why did we procrastinate on getting all of that patched or corrected? Why? Oh, the updates and patches happened, but late into the 90s. I didn't even hear about the dreaded Y2K bug until 1998. And the fear was that not everyone had updated and Y2K protected their PCs, so at the very least, we were told to shut off our computers before midnight on New Year's Eve 1999, because your gateway, Dell, IBM, or somehow Apple II, unupdated, would be responsible for the apocalypse. So the media and news outlets at the time were there for us. The Y2K bug was in the headlines constantly. Y2K was the buzz at the end of the last millennium, and Y2K readiness was on everyone's minds. Like, what if the Y2K bug actually threw us into a new dark age? Well, there were ways to prepare. So let's go back to the late 90s and check out some of the ways that we prepared physically and mentally for the doomsday that ultimately never happened. It's Y2K readiness here on the Busy Signal. As the clock crept closer toward the year 2000, commercials went full cyber. Everything needed a 2K slapped on it. Music, fashion, websites, and yes, even French fries. One of the most perfect Y2K commercial examples? McDonald's Fry 2K promotion. Back in 1999, Mickey D's decided the best way for Americans to prepare was to stockpile fries. It's a brilliant ad. Among the news reports of people building bunkers and doomsday preppers, McDonald's dropped this guy on us.
I hate to be a worry ward, but we're just not going to take any chances around here. I mean, we could be without power, without resources. The experts are split on the effects it could have. Watch your step. It could be bedlam, so we're stocking up. And when the millennium hits, we'll be ready.
Did somebody say McDonald's?
Oh yeah.
He brings us down into his basement bunker to reveal he's totally ready because he's stockpiled from floor to ceiling with French fries. And as we all know, if you leave McDonald's French fries out, they don't deteriorate, they don't degrade. So I guess this guy's pretty good. Instead of worrying about computers or planes crashing, McDonald's told us relax. The future is golden and lightly salted. What makes Fry 2K such a perfect time capsule is how confidently cheerful it is. No fear, no glitches, just fries and a shiny new millennium on the way. McDonald's wasn't worried about the end of the world. They were worried about future drive-thru traffic. And honestly, that might have been the most accurate Y2K prediction of all. Unlike McDonald's, Nike, Polaroid, and even Got Milk, there was plenty of Y2K related advertising that wasn't so tongue-in-cheek. There were companies literally selling Y2K survival kits. The closer 2000 came on the calendar, one thing became very clear. people were rethinking their trust in computers. Some people turned to mail-order survival methods because if the Y2K bug was going to knock out banks, power grids, and civilization as we knew it, the solution apparently was a cardboard box filled with emergency supplies and a lot of optimism. Y2K survival kits were everywhere in 1999. They really were. If you looked, they were there. Tips on how to make your own, late-night infomercials, newspaper ads, back pages of magazines, and early Web 1.0 sites with blinking text warning you that time was running out.
It's 2 a.m., January 1st, year 2000. Power's out. It's pitch black. You need light. If you planned ahead, you'll have one of these. Just wind it up. You'll have light and communication. Call now and get the ultimate Y2K survival kit from BeCalm.com. You'll receive the Sunburst, the premier wind-up and solar-powered flashlight and radio, a video resource guide with real advice from leading experts, a diagnostic computer program to test your PC. You'll receive 3 soup samples from Hourglass Foods, food storage you'll want to eat. Plus, you'll receive a step-by-step guide that will show you how to prepare without wasting a single penny.
Call now and order your ultimate Y2K survival kit. You get the wind-up and solar-powered flashlight radio, video diagnostic software, food samples, and preparation guide. A $90 value, all for only $49.95. Call 1-800-303-8747 now and tell the operator to rush an ultimate Y2K survival kit to your home. Call now.
And oh, by the way, these kits came with tiers because the apocalypse had price points. There were basic kits, like starter kits, just to get you through like a weekend power outage. But really, if you wanted to survive, the deluxe kit was for serious doomsday preppers. These kits came with freeze-dried food, blankets, cash storage envelopes, perhaps a gas mask or 2, guides on how to survive without ATMs, phones, or trust in humanity. And the wild part, a lot of normal non-prepper people bought these kits. They didn't necessarily believe the world was ending, but they didn't not believe it either. So closets filled up, garages filled up, basements gained emergency bins, and then midnight hit. The lights stayed on. The planes didn't fall. The VCR blinked 12 o'clock, but it always blinked 12 o'clock, so that doesn't count. And my point, in 1999, the scariest thing wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't being prepared when everyone else thought we should be. From French fries to survival kits with hand crank radios and flashlights, the global citizens of 1999 were being told to stock up on everything: batteries, drinking water, cash, and apparently enough non-perishable food to survive an apocalypse for at least 25 years. So how do you store all of that water, rice, beans, pasta, or insert whatever else was going to get you through the next dark age? Big blue plastic 55-gallon drums. Food-grade storage barrels. That's right, when the calendar flipped to the year 2000, big blue plastic barrels promised peace of mind.
Be prepared. Y2K is near. What does the future hold? War? Famine? Depression? Panic? What does the future hold? Food storage for the future. 15, 30, and 55-gallon brand new food-grade storage containers have just arrived at GI Surplus, and they won't last. They can hold your future. Get prepared for Y2K. GI Surplus is your Y2K headquarters.
This was a bona fide real commercial that aired locally in Texas. I kid you not. I'm sure there are more like it out there on the interwebs, but this was real. People bought these and filled them with, I don't know, anything, I guess. Powdered eggs, macaroni, valuables, whatever they were thinking was valuable enough to go into that bucket, and they would be prepared for Y2K. I don't know. Society could have collapsed, but you would be all set with a 55-gallon drum filled with freeze-dried beef bourguignon. I mean, seriously though, this commercial is even better visually. Head over to the show's Instagram to see this one and all of the commercials featured in this episode. At Busy Signal Cast, we have fun over there. It's worth a follow. Did you or anyone you know seriously prep for Y2K? Comment over on our Instagram because occasionally I will share those fun comments on future episodes. I keep trying to think about what I would have filled my 55-gallon drum with because I didn't do that. 55 gallons of Surge soda sounds pretty darn good to me. So far, we've dealt with Y2K doomsday prep, but we really haven't discussed the root of the problem: lazy coding. The problem of the 2-digit year was identified all the way back, like we said, in 1985. Instead of fixing that problem right then and there, Microsoft went on to release at least 11 operating systems / upgrades to those operating systems, from MS-DOS, Windows 1.0, 98, 98 SE, and Windows NT, all between 1985 and 1999. Now, why did I just target Microsoft? Because Apple didn't have a Y2K problem. They didn't have to work out a last-minute patch. However, there was third-party software for Apple and Microsoft that had the date issues as well. So even if you have updated your operating system back in the day, you might have had an ancillary program that was working off of a 2-digit separately from your operating system. So this was a problem even if you patched that operating system. The thing was, how would anyone even know where to begin? Geeks. This was a computer nerd's time to shine. Suddenly, everyone needed Y2K computer services. Local computer shops, national chains, and fly-by-night consultants all promised the same thing. If you don't fix this now, your computer will think it's 1900 and everything will collapse.
The year 2000 is upon us. Are you Y2K OK? Call Mobile Computer Services for all your computer needs. A surprising number of computers are still not Y2K compliant, so through the end of the year, we're offering a $45 special on our in-home diagnostic. With friendly, reliable, on-site service, count on Mobile Computer Services to troubleshoot all your Y2K needs. Join CRIM2, KSKN22, and the growing number of businesses who are Y2K OK.
For a fee as small as $45 in this commercial, up to thousands of dollars for larger businesses, a Y2K technician would show up with a briefcase full of anti-static bags and tiny screwdrivers. They'd run special Y2K diagnostic software, update your BIOS, patch your operating systems, and print out a certificate stating your computer was Y2K compliant. This was your absolute proof that you didn't cause the next ice age if everything hit the fan. Ads for these services were relentless, and some of them were definitely more legitimate than others. You had to be careful. But really, on a home computer, all you had to do was run Windows Update and update any of your other third-party programs to their latest version. That's it. It was the banks, utilities, and airlines, the infrastructure that really needed serious fixes. But for a brief moment, at the end of the 90s, a guy with a floppy disk and a laser-printed checklist was standing between you and the apocalypse. Meanwhile, in 1999, as IT departments were racing to fix 2-digit dates and the rest of us were stockpiling bottled water, NBC asked the big question: what if everything actually went wrong? The question then became Y2K the Movie, a made-for-TV disaster movie that aired November 21st, 1999, just days before Thanksgiving and weeks before the Millennium rollover. Obviously, the timing was no accident.
It's the night on everyone's mind.
This could affect half the continental United States.
The night they warned us about.
Now we're starting to see some problems.
What if they're right?
My God. We have to start the evacuation.
The survival of millions hangs in the balance.
We've lost this puppy.
Go, everybody out! Just tell yourself it's only a movie. And now, Y2K the Movie.
The movie follows a group of utility workers, families, and government officials as the clock strikes midnight on January 1st, 2000. Systems start failing, power grids collapse, planes do fall from the sky, and nuclear power plants threaten meltdowns. The world doesn't end per se in this movie, but society unravels pretty fast. At a time when disaster movies were big, Y2K the Movie tried. It tried its best, without aliens or monsters, just everyday technology betraying all of mankind all at once. The villains weren't hackers or terrorists. They were forgotten lines of legacy code written decades earlier. Pretty accurate, actually. NBC aired the movie with a disclaimer.
This program does not suggest or imply that any of these events could actually occur.
Take from that what you will. It's whatever. The cast? The cast seems pretty talented when I look them up on IMDb. They've had long acting careers as character actors. They've all been in tons of stuff, but I don't know any of them by name or face. Oh, except one guy, Joe Morton. I kind of recognized him. I remembered him, I think, from Blues Brothers 2000. And that was a bad movie I apparently forgot all about. Which brings me back to this movie. Critics hated it. Openly hated on it in their reviews. I mean, that little trailer we just heard, you could tell this wasn't going to win anyone an award at all. It was an opportunistic disaster movie that aired the Sunday night before Thanksgiving. It had a job. Its job was to grab ratings and maybe some water cooler talk for the next time that it was aired. And if you're interested in an overcooked, mediocre disaster flick, Y2K the movie is free on YouTube in its entirety. I think it's in decent quality too, so check that out, I guess. Fun fact, by the way, NBC renamed Y2K the movie after the year 2000 to Countdown to Chaos. Not that it matters really, because the movie quietly slipped into obscurity almost even before the calendar rolled over out of 1999. In the final hours and minutes of December 31st, 1999, television news became must-see TV. This wasn't New Year's Eve. Not any typical New Year's Eve. This was a live global systems test. Every major network was on deck with their best anchors behind their desks. Emergency graphics were locked and loaded with phrases like Y2K Watch, Millennium Alert. Instead of champagne countdowns, we got control rooms and reporters standing by like they were covering a hurricane. ABC, NBC, CNN, they all followed the same script. Nothing's happened. Yet. As midnight rolled across time zones from New Zealand to Australia, Japan, and Europe, news anchors waited. And each hour was the same. So far, no problems.
I'll tell you, two people who've not had any chance to relax at all today are Sam Donaldson and Lisa Stark, who've been monitoring Y2K and aviation for us in Washington. So we're going to go first to Sam, who's at Y2K headquarters in New York. Sam, you've had a long day, but sort of a foolproof day. Everything seems to have worked out about everywhere.
Well, Peter, it's like the firefighters are sitting around the station house and playing a pinochle, waiting for the bell to ring. It never rings. On the other hand, you're exactly right. That's the best outcome. I mean, does the phrase, no news is good news, resonate so loudly? Every place that they've checked here at the Information Center in Washington, beginning with New Zealand, ending now with New York, Washington, the Eastern Seacoast, everything's fine. All the banks were required to back up all of the data. Your bank account has been backed up on a floppy someplace or its equivalent in case something went wrong there.
Well,
so
Sam,
the precautions were there, but apparently not necessary.
Sam, thank you very much. You proved again today how well you know your story. Thank you very much. Hope you get some sleep. Sam Donaldson reporting to us from Y2K headquarters in Washington.
By 12:05 a.m., our biggest crisis turned out to be that nothing happened at all. And just like that, the story flipped from possible catastrophe to historic overreaction. But for a few hours, the world had been united, glued to the TV, waiting for future to either crash around us or load successfully. Some people still had to deal with 55-gallon drums filled with whatever in their basements, but better safe than sorry, I guess. It's really easy to laugh now, but for a moment, the world truly held its breath. Y2K wasn't just about computers crashing. It was about our trust in technology and what happens when we realize how much we depend on it. Whether you or your family were stockpiling canned goods, updating software, or watching the countdown on TV, Y2K marked the end of an era and the beginning of another. It's hard to describe that time to someone who wasn't there for it, but for those of us that were, I ask, did you or your family do anything to prepare for Y2K? I think that's fantastic. Let me know in the comment sections or DM of the show's Instagram at BusySignalCast. I have all the commercials, like I said, from this episode up there. I might read one of your comments in a future show. I think that would just really be fun. So update that follow button at BusySignalCast. And if you liked this episode, consider subscribing on Apple, Spotify, or wherever fine podcasts are streamed. Tell a friend, share an episode, or even better, give the show a 5-star rating and a positive review. I would totally appreciate that. Really, I would. So here we go. If you bought several 55-gallon food-grade plastic doomsday barrels in 1999, were you able to get a full refund when Armageddon didn't happen? Just asking for a friend. Thanks for listening, everybody. Catch you later. Once again, I'd like to say thanks for listening. Keep the nostalgia alive, share episodes, revisit favorite ones, and dive into past episodes whenever you need a little escape back in time. Don't forget to have more fun on Busy Signal Cast on Instagram. You'll find loads of cool stuff from back in the day, plus episode-related content. Also, don't be shy, say hi. Until next time, remember to reach out and touch the past.
Be prepared. Y2K is near.